It's me, Vicki Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I'm always a little bit late. Things happen. Just as I'm about to go live, just checking that I've got everything switched on right now. Just as I'm about to go live, I find another bit of information about the case I'm about to cover, or something happens, or some disaster happens, or the dog decides to make a mess and I have to clear it all. But there's always something going on. There's always something. Makes me late, and I hate being late. I don't like being late. I'm rarely late. I'm one of those people who normally turns up early, but it's something about these YouTube streams. But anyway, never mind. I'm here now. And listen, thank you so much for caring about these children. Now, this video that I'm going to talk about today about the missing children and the children that have died in Ireland. The childcare services are called Tusla in Ireland, and they're pretty crapo. That's from what I can gather about things I've seen, the cases we've covered. They're bloody rubbish. Now, I think child protection services are pretty rubbish, seems like everywhere. You think, God, children don't get a voice a lot of the time, do they? And these children, a lot of children in Ireland, they've just disappeared and nobody's asked where they are, the social services, etc. Like this case that we're going to talk about today. And also Karen Durnin, who we've talked about before, who still has not been found. Now, this little boy, his skeletal remains have just been found. That's what's prompted me to do this video that I've been meaning to do for so long. Literally, things have been called to my attention by some of my subscribers, and I've literally left a bookmark on an email that I got. When I look at it now, it was months ago, and I just haven't been able to, as I was talking about Karen Durnin, this chatter sent me some information, and I've just left it there and left it there. Every day that I go into my emails, I'm looking at it and thinking, I've got to say something about that. I've got to say something about that. Anyway, what sort of brought it to, the fore that is that this other little boy, so not Karen Durnin, he's still not been found. Let's just put some. So this is Karen that we have spoken about. He's been missing for ages and he's not been found yet, despite the fact the Gardaí have said that they think he's dead. We're going to talk a little bit about him in this video as well, but we have talked about him before. The Gardaí think he's deceased, but they can't find him. They've looked for him, can't find his little body. But this little boy, and I think his name's Daniel. Let me just check, because I haven't covered this case before. This is a new case to me. That's the other thing. Why is there not big outrage about this? I'm sure there's been outrage maybe in Ireland, but there should be outrage everywhere. Yeah, Daniel Aruebose. And he's been missing for a number of years. He would be 7 if he was still alive, but he's just been found he is deceased. He would be 7 if he was still alive, but unfortunately he's not. And of course, work's going on. Look at his little face. You just think these little mites, they've got no chance, have they, in this world, in this crazy world. I don't even know if I gave my normal greeting or not, but hey, it's too late to do it now. But it is a crazy world, isn't it? Look at his little face. These children should be protected one way or another. And the thing is, if they're not safe from the very people who are supposed to protect them, which is their parents, then that is what child services is for, isn't it? But it seems like, there's a lot of children that are known to child protection services in Ireland, to Tusla, and they end up getting murdered, because they're not protected, because Tusla is crap. And that's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk particularly about Daniel and Karen, but all the other children that have been failed by Tusla and their parents or loved ones or whatever's happened to them. So first of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for caring about these children. We have to care about them because their own parents don't. Seems like the Child Protection Services didn't care enough. So at least we care about them. We can't change things that happen. You know, most of the time we get to know about things after something bad has already happened to them. But at least we can care about them. We can pray for them. We can send out, you know, our love. You know, it's something. It's better than nothing. It's more than their parents did, isn't it? So thank you for that, for caring about them. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Special thank you to my members. Special thank you to those of you who buy me Ko-fis. Send super stickers or nice emails, like this lady sent me the email about this. She quite often emails me, quite a lot of you do, and I keep up with them as much as I can. I don't always see the emails straight away. Sometimes it's a couple of days even before I see them. It all depends. I try and go onto my emails daily, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So if you sent me an email and I've missed it, I'm sorry. But thank you. Don't let it stop you sending me emails. You know, people send me emails about cases, updates, etc. Thank you. Yes. So, and thank you, of course, as I have to carry on my thank yous before we get into the video. Thank you to you lovely lurkers out there. You lurkers who like to watch but don't like to come into the comments. Thank you for watching. Hi to loathsome lurkers. You know, get a life. No, sorry. Yeah, but you know, really, you just think in this world where there's so many things going on, you can't be doing with trolls. And that counts for the subtle trolls as well. You get a few subtle trolls. Don't know if you've noticed. Come on saying, oh, think you're great, think your channel's great. And then they start trying to derail your stream. I'm on a 0% tolerance level at the moment. I've got enough shit going on in my own life. I can't put up with people who are just there, you know, for what, you know, sad people like that. So, but hello anyway. Hi to Replay Crew. Thank you so much. And yeah, thanks for everything. So let's have a look now in the chat, the people that are brave enough to come in the chat. And it is scary coming in the chat, you know, because it's scary to give you views in public. But, you know, that's what social media is here for, as long as they're not disrespectful. Okay, especially to the victims. I mean, if you're disrespectful to a victim, you're off, straight off. But sometimes people come in a little bit disrespectful, either to me or to each other. We're not tolerating that. We're 0 tolerance. One strike, you're out at the moment. Hi, Lily Pauly. Hi, Bluebell. Yeah, prayers for these children. Hi, Angel. Hi, sorry. Oh, God, you're all chatting. Hi, Daniel. Yes, happy Friday to you too. Okay. So where am I going to start with this? Because there's a lot to say. I'm going to start with Daniel. Now, I hadn't had a chance even to talk about Daniel. There were a few things that I saw, you know, I've seen on social media, and I thought, oh, and in fact, when they first found this boy, you know, the headlines were, I think it was yesterday or the day before, you know, missing boy found. I thought it was going to be Kyron, and this boy Daniel, really, I suppose it's been in the Irish newspapers. If you're Irish, you probably know about this boy and what's happened, but I think people who are in the UK or, you know, Australia or America, they won't have. It's not been international news. Why, I don't know. Now, there was what drew my attention to this case was actually the other day on the 15th of September. So 4 days ago on the 15th of September, this popped up on my social media, on my Facebook, actually, from, I think it's the Irish Mirror, because I do follow the Irish news because of various cases we've covered, like John George, etc., or, you know, of course, John George was Northern Irish, but other other cases that we've covered about the missing triangle in Dublin, and recently I did the case about Elaine, and all the, so I do, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm sure you realise that whatever you search for on the internet, on your computer or on your phone, and then on social media, it starts prompting you, doesn't it, with all things from, so I get all these Irish news stories. And I saw this news story and I thought, are they talking about Karen Durnin? Because I didn't know about this other case. So this was the headline on the 15th of September. Dad of missing presumed dead boy paid tribute to dead dog, but not his dead son. So the Irish Mirror can now reveal that the missing boy's dad once paid an emotional tribute to his dog on its passing. And I thought, oh, is this Karen? And of course, it wasn't. So the dad of the missing boy, presumed dead in North County Dublin, once paid an emotional tribute to his dog. Am I sharing? Don't think I'm sharing. Let me share. I don't like sharing. Here we are. Yeah, dad of missing presumed dead boy paid tribute to a dead dog, but not his dead son. So he once paid an emotional tribute to his dog when it died, a year after when Gardaí believed his son died. So this poor boy has been missing. He's not been seen since 2021. 4 years. What have the Child Protection Services done about it? Nothing. So there does not appear to be any tribute paid to his dead son online. And this comes as the search for the missing boy who has not been seen since 2021 and would be around 7 years old now, continues on marshy land near Portrane Road in Donabate. A longer time frame for the search of the little boy is also being considered by investigators if there has been no breakthrough within the coming days, sources have said. Now, I just want to say, imagine searching marshes for a dead child, a little boy. It's just traumatic for the searchers, don't you think? Just awful. Marshy land, is that where they put him? Well, it is, I think, where they put him because he has been found. And we're going to look at later what they say happened, what the parents are saying that happened. Of course, it was all an accident, or he was just found dead in his bed and, they took him out to the marshes, like you do, because if you found your little boy deceased in his bed and you didn't know what had happened to him, you'd wrap him up, dress him in his pajamas and take him to the marshes, wouldn't you? Of course, that's what you do. That's what we'd all do, isn't it? So as the search continues, we can now reveal that the missing boy's dad once paid an emotional tribute to his dog on its passing in a social media post. The dog was mentioned a few times to Gardaí, and it's understood he left the dog behind with the boy's mother, his ex-partner, before heading off to Brazil after the little boy died. So after this boy died, his father went to Brazil, but left the dog with his ex-partner, the mum. And wait till you see these pictures of their apartment. We can also show inside the apartment where the boy lived. A number of images were posted online several years ago of the apartment, but show no trace of the little boy. Oh my God, this apartment's like a show home. None of his clothes or toys. Why do people have kids? In this day and age when contraception is readily available, and not that I like the idea of terminating pregnancies, but better terminate a pregnancy than end up with parents like this being in charge of a baby. None of his clothes or toys appear in any of the photos, and the images only show one bedroom, the hallway, kitchen, dining area. So this is where they've been searching for him, and this is where they have found him. in Donabati. Now let's have a look at Donabati. Actually, I prepared the Google Maps. So for those of you who know Ireland, which I don't, Donabati is here. If you look at it, most people will sort of have heard of Dublin, obviously, and Donabati is sort of up the way. Not that far, is it? From not that far from Dublin. There's Dublin, and there's Donabati up there, and this is where all this is happening in Donabati. Right, let me go back to that. Okay, so last week we revealed, I didn't see that article, that the Gardaí retrieved a photograph of the little boy from the apartment when it was forensically searched. It's understood the photograph was hidden away in the apartment. The child's mother, who was born in Africa but lived in Ireland since she was a child, continues to reside in the apartment, but the child's father moved to South America after the child died. Both continue to be spoken to informally by investigators. Now, bear in mind, this is before the body was found. I expect it's getting a bit more formal now. Hi, Hillbilly. It's getting a little bit formal now, I'm sure, because they found the body now. So now they found the body, the investigations obviously are going to get more, the investigations, the interrogations, they're going to get more formal. So apparently the parents maintain, so they have admitted that the child is deceased. They said the child passed away in his sleep from natural causes. They discovered him dead in his bed and panicked and secretly buried him by digging a shallow grave by hand in the marshy lands nearby. Well, you know, come on. As if you would do that. As if you would do that if you had nothing to hide. If you woke up and your child was deceased in bed, you would be you'd be straight on the phone to the emergency services. You'd be hoping that maybe he could be saved. You'd be, the last thing on your mind would be wrapping him up and taking him out and digging a grave in the marshy lands nearby, wouldn't it? So apparently earlier they revealed how the little boy was changed from his pajamas into his day clothes after he died, and he was secretly buried with his favourite teddy bear. Oh my God, this poor little boy, his little face. So, they had to say they changed him from his pajamas because their story is they just found him dead in bed. But of course, that just didn't happen, did it? So it'd be interesting to see what the forensic investigations show for his cause of death. I know this sounds awful, but I hope it's an obvious cause of death, because the thing is with skeletal remains, obviously there's a lot of things that they can't tell, but they will be able to tell if bones had been broken, if anything had happened to his head, skull fractures or things like that. So and that in my opinion is why they have hidden this boy, because they couldn't say he died of natural causes. But anyway, time will tell. So we also revealed it's understood the Gardaí were also told the body of the little boy was wrapped in a blanket and placed in a rucksack and carried to his secret burial place around only 4 kilometres from the apartment. Look at this apartment. Oh my God. Now, I don't know why the apartment is so spotless. Was this because it was put up for sale or something? Whose house is that spotless? Especially if you've got children, bloody hell. Is there some sort of OCD going on here? And if you are OCD, which a lot of people are, and can't help it if you are, but children not a good idea, are they? Because you can't be OCD with animals or children, because they mess up your living space. Any place normally where children are living, there's toys everywhere. You're always tripping over things. You try and put them all away at the end of the day when your child has gone to bed. But the next morning, as soon as they get up, it's all out again. Same with dogs, to be honest, I've noticed. Anyway, there's the bedroom. Yeah, so it's very sterile. Now, I don't know. Maybe these are photos that were taken to sell this apartment. So, it could be that that's why they're so, because when you put your home up for sale or rent or whatever, you do, portray it at its best, don't you? Anyway, we also revealed there is no trace that the little boy ever lived in the apartment with his parents. All of his possessions had been gotten rid of. There's no sign of anything belonging to the little boy in the apartment, not even a toy or clothes. And because of that, it looks like the child never even lived there, which he did, but with everything of his gone, it's as if he didn't even exist. But the little boy did exist and did live in the apartment, sources told us. So, where were the social services were aware of this boy. I just want to say that. So to me, the Tusla, they were aware of this boy. So did they just give up on him? You'd only have to walk into that apartment and you would know there's no children living there. Spotless. So, Gardaí from the Sword Station, who are leading the investigation, are working on the assumption that the boy is buried on the land. But there are fears that because he was buried in a shallow grave, that wild animals such as foxes, which have been seen in the area, may have disturbed his remains. Sources say Gardaí are certain the child existed, but now that the child is now dead. So I suppose we have to think of it as good news that at least his body's been found. This little boy did exist. He will be given, let me just put it to the next. He will be given a dignified burial, at least. So bless him. Now look at his little face. So this is a BBC article that confirms that the skeletal remains have been found in the search for Daniel. Look at his little face. I mean, what chance did he have? He's beautiful. He's such a beautiful little baby. People, even looking at that photo behind him, it all looks spotless, doesn't it? Now, who killed him? So these parents, they've split up now. They're saying that he was just dead when they just found him dead in the bed in the morning. But one of them killed him, 100%. I'm certain that they did. How the Gardaí will prove it, I don't know. And I know it sounds awful, but I sort of almost hope that it has got some broken bones and things, because... I think you understand what I'm saying, because fractures and things like that, they will be evidence to get this couple. Because if he hasn't got any signs, now that, of course, it's been a couple of years, the only signs they're going to be with skeletal remains will be fractures and broken bones. And they're the things that will convict these twonks. Absolute twonks. How could you just look at his little face? He doesn't look happy, does he? Bless him. Reminds me a bit of Emmanuel Harrow. He's got that sort of desperate look on his face. What happens to these children? Lots of children out there like that, unfortunately. So skeletal remains found during a police search in Donabati are believed to be those of a missing young boy. It's believed he's been missing for a number of years and he would be 7 years old. Now, concerns for Daniel's whereabouts had been raised last month by Tusla, the Irish state agency responsible for child welfare and protection. Sorry, I mean, good that they raised the question of where he was, but for God's sake, he's been missing for years. How have they only just... I think because there's a lot of focus on Tusla at the moment, maybe they're trying to pull their finger out a bit. Maybe they're so they, they're going to come out with all these things. Oh, hang on a minute, we haven't seen Daniel for years. Oh right, oh, so they'll probably take the credit for raising the alarm. But why didn't they raise the alarm before? So an area of open ground in the village, which lies to the north of Dublin, had been the subject of a search for a number of weeks, and Gardaí have confirmed a careful and sensitive exhumation will now take place, and DNA analysis will be carried out to formally identify the remains. Daniel lived in the Gallery Apartments in Donabati, where an examination was first carried out on Sunday, the 31st of August. And door-to-door inquiries at the building complex continue to be carried out. No one has ever been arrested in connection to the case. So Ireland's Minister for Children, Norma Foley, said she was deeply saddened by the discovery of the child's remains. The death of a child is always heartbreaking and upsetting, but it's especially so for those who knew and loved this child. I extend my sincere sympathy to all involved. The minister thanked the Gardaí and other agencies for their diligent work on this research over recent weeks. Daniel Aruabose was the second child to go missing in the Republic of Ireland in recent years without triggering any kind of search or investigation. Kieran Durnin, he's the case that we've followed. I've done quite a few videos about Kieran, and they are definitely, this is Kieran. They're looking for him. He's another little one. I'm going to read you a little bit about his story in a moment. We'll just continue this article. There'll be more, I'm sure. I'm sure more will come out. But also, I've got this article that one of my chatters sent me that tells us that, in fact, 200 since 2014, 227 children that were known to state care to Tusla have died. That is the scandal of how it is, how crap Tusla are. So the disappearances are not connected, but they have caused widespread public concern over the state of child protection services. Now, again, I want to stipulate, because this is the same in America, wasn't it, with the Emmanuel Harrow case? This case is in the UK. I think this is, it's a worldwide thing. Children are not valued enough. That's my, they don't produce, so they're not valued. Children, how a child could go missing and nobody sees it for 4 years, and nobody realizes that this child has disappeared. Anyway, when she was questioned by reporters on Wednesday, she agreed it was shocking that a child could be missing for so long without any intervention from authorities. It's never acceptable that a child would go missing for any length of time, she said. In this instance, I think it's very important that sooner or later we get to the bottom of this and the other case, so that we will know exactly what happened. And she said that Daniel's disappearance would be the subject of a rapid review by Tulsa, which is examining its contacts with the boy's family. She said the case will be examined by Ireland's National Review Panel, which investigates serious incidents, including the deaths of children who are in care or known to the child protection system. So Tulsa said it last had dealings with Daniel's family 5 years ago. Five, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. 5 years ago, but did not confirm why its services ceased or why no further checks or contacts appear to have been made. Let me just take little Kyron's photo off. Sorry, did not confirm why its services ceased or why no further checks or contacts appear to have been made after the child was 2 years old. So that was it. It got to 2 and that was it. They didn't bother checking up. It also confirmed that since 2020, no new referral or information of concern was received about the child until 29th of August this year. And on that date, Tulsa referred the matter to Gardaí following a report from the Department of Social Protection. And the agency said that the closure of the case was appropriate. Following the news of Daniel's disappearance, Foley said Tusla would undertake well-being checks on cases closed during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, it's COVID again, isn't it? So, because they couldn't, I suppose, go round there and check on children during COVID. But, COVID finished a little while ago. It's been a couple of years. Tusla's chief executive, Kate Duggan. I bet if we looked into Kate Duggan, she's earning a bloody fortune. The chief executive. How much do you think she's earning? So she previously estimated this would involve checks on around 38,000 children. And on Wednesday, Irish broadcaster RTE reported that figure has since risen to 42,000 cases. 42,000 children. Oh my God. Let's see what Kate's earning. Makes me mad, this makes me fuming. Chief Executive Officer of Tusla. Salary, let's see. Oh my God, so she's on. This woman, let's have a look at an image of her. She's earning nearly €210,000 a year. €210,000 a year. Let's upload a photo of her. And that's without expenses. I'm just going to put this picture up. So you're earning €210,000 a year, and you can't keep track of missing children. Children are dying. But you're still getting your salary, aren't you? Here she is. Let me put a picture of her up. Yeah, look at that smug smile. Yeah. Do you care about children? No, not really. €210,000 a year salary, excluding expenses, and children are dying, being murdered. I don't live in Ireland, but I tell you what, there needs to be a big outcry about this. She should resign for a start. €210,000 a year plus expenses. Come on. That's where people's money goes, isn't it? Into the CEOs, etc. Hi, David. Hope you're well. God, God, you'd like to be on a fraction of that amount of money. And, listen, if she was earning 210,000, it's still too much, even if she was doing a good job. 210,000 euros a year is an obscene amount of money. I'm sorry, it is obscene when people are earning like 20,000 or whatever. But at least you would expect them to be efficient and not have that smug look on her face. Oh my God. I'm going to do a thumbnail of her with all these missing children around her. She is culpable in the death of this child. Maybe the parents were the ones that killed this child. But I tell you, these authorities, they need to be held to account. They cannot just turn around and say it's nothing to do with us. It's everything to do with them. That is their job. That is their job. That's what she gets paid all that money for. According to this article by the BBC, 42,000 cases that need checking up on after COVID. How many more children? How many more? So that's Daniel. Daniel's remains have been found. So at least there'll be able to be a proper investigation. There'll be able to be a forensic examination. And charges hopefully will be brought. I hope the bloody Tusla gets some charges against him as well. And this little one, he will at least be laid to rest with dignity, And I just want to put a little thought out as well and a prayer out for the people that have had to recover his remains from those marshes, because that will not be nice, will it? Could you imagine? Oh, those are the heroes. Those are the unsung heroes, these people. That recover remains, especially in those traumatic circumstances. God. So, the boy that hasn't been found yet, of course, is Kyron. And we're going to have another little look at his case. When was this article? This was the Irish Times. Don't know what the date is. August the 29th. So 20 days ago, more or less, this was an article that was in the Irish Times. Kyron Durnan case, third arrest expected in a year-long investigation into the boy's disappearance. So this is another one. The mother knows more, 100%. The mother knows more. I don't know who the third arrest was going to be, but this is, they have searched a lot of places. They are trying to find this little boy. I hope they do find him. Detectives, let me just change the photo up in the top there, because this is little Kyron now we're concentrating on, and the authorities have said he's dead. As far as they're concerned, he's dead. They don't have any hopes that he's still alive. They have made several arrests, but nobody's been charged. So this other person, the detectives suspect, has crucial information about what happened to the child from Louth and about his life in the period before he vanished. So this is the house where he was living in Drogheda. This is the Guardian at the scene of one of the many searches for evidence. And detectives investigating the disappearance and assumed murder of County Louth boy Kyron Durnan are planning a third arrest in the case. Hope it's the mother. The Irish Times understands that evidence is being gathered in the current phase of the year-long inquiry to lay the ground for arrest. Oh, no, it says the person facing arrest is not suspected of direct involvement in the boy's killing. However, Gardaí strongly suspect they made significant efforts to frustrate the inquiry to the point of committing a criminal offence. Well, it may be the mother. We don't know who killed this boy. Anyway, murder detectives also suspect the person has crucial information about what happened to Kyron and about his life in the period before he vanished. Poor little thing. And he's another one, he hasn't been seen for years. So this marks exactly 1 year since Kyron and his mother Dyla were reported missing, and Gardaí have issued an appeal for people with information to come forward. So despite extensive and ongoing inquiries carried out by Gardaí, we've been unable to locate Kyron or determine what happened to him. So again, they need to find his body, because once they find his body and they're given, even though it probably will be skeletal remains, just as the other little boy Daniel, at least they'll be able to see if there's any broken bones, etc. They'll be able to tell something. So today, over 570 investigative tasks have been undertaken, 2 suspects arrested and 3 properties in Drogheda and Dundalk subjected to intrusive searches. More than that, 29,500 hours of CCTV footage has been gathered for review in a process that was ongoing. So let's just have a look where Dundalk is. So Dundalk is, you have to, so I think this is where he was last seen, in Dundalk. Drogheda is another property that they're searching. And then, of course, Dublin and around this area is where Daniel disappeared from. There's no connection between the 2 cases, except they were both cases that Tusla has failed on, and it seems like the parents or mother, one of the parents at least, we don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, the mother knows about this case of Kyron, because when your little boy disappears, do you know what I mean? You don't, if you've got a little boy or a girl and they go missing tomorrow, when your child's missing. I mean, he was in the custody of the mother, so she knew he was missing. She didn't report him missing. So that, straight away, it doesn't mean to say it was her who killed him, but she's covering up for someone then, isn't she? To me, it just seems obvious, that a mother knows when their child is missing or whatever, don't they? It's ridiculous to think any different. Okay, so the last confirmed sighting of Kyron in public was at the start of the summer in 2022. God, so again, you're looking at 3 years ago when he was 6 years old. So he would be 9 now, but he's deceased. They're convinced, the police, is deceased. And that was at his national school in Dundalk. However, staff there had been told he was planning to go to school in the north the following year, meaning when he did not return in September, it did not arouse suspicion. Now, confirmed sighting of Kyron, but of course there's some talk that was it even Kyron, or were they, it seems funny, isn't it? Suddenly they're saying, oh, he's planning to go to school in the north. Was that another child similar to Kyron that the school thought they'd seen? This is what they're saying now, that it's possible that another child was used as like a decoy for Kyron. So Gardaí have been unable to find any evidence Kyron was alive after the period of early summer 2022. No new images of him were shared on social media, and there's no evidence of birthday or Christmas presents having been bought for him. Gardaí believe he was killed in round about June 2022, and his remains were disposed of to conceal what had happened. However, more than 2 years elapsed before the alarm was raised. I just can't get my head around the fact that in today's day and age, a child could disappear for 2 years and nobody raises an alarm. Hi, Wesley. Hi, Moonbeam. I'm just catching up with people that are coming in. Hope I haven't missed anyone coming in. If I have, say hello again. But yeah, 2 years, a child goes missing, nobody reports them missing. Whatever. So obviously, in my opinion, the mother knows something, because a mother knows if her child is missing. Now, it could be the mother was scared for her own life. Maybe there's some domestic violence issues. But sorry, nothing. You can't believe that you never even got 5 minutes to pop on your own to pop to a police station or what. You can't, as a mother, if she hasn't actually killed him, but she's covered up someone who has, she's just as guilty, in my opinion. So Tusla, gosh, I'd never heard of Tusla until about a year ago. Suddenly I get to know all this about Tusla, and it's not good, is it, any of it? The Child and Family Agency had made several efforts last year to see the boy to check on his welfare. On August the 29th last year, having been unable to locate the boy, they flagged their concerns for his welfare with Gardaí. So they're going to make a big thing. Oh yeah, it was us who called attention, but he'd already been missing for 2 years. Why did it take 2 years? So a member of Kyron's extended family went to the Gardaí the following day and made a missing persons report, claiming that Kyron and his mother had just vanished a day earlier. So they all know about it, don't they? Kyron has been let down by all his family. So Gardaí immediately began a missing persons inquiry, and they eventually located Dayla Durnin. Now, she's in the UK. I don't know, she crossed the border and went to Northern Ireland. Anyway, when no evidence could be found Kyron was alive, the case was upgraded to a murder inquiry in October. And last December, a man and a woman were arrested for questioning on suspicion of Kyron's, I don't know if you pronounce it, Kyron, murder, but were released without charge. And the arrested man, Anthony Maguire, who was 36 from Drogheda, was friendly with members of Kyron's family and would have had access to the boy. And he denied any involvement in Kyron's death. But days after being questioned and released, he took his own life. And what a selfish man. What a selfish man. So he's taken his own life. Well, that's his choice to take. It's his life to take. But he could have left a note, couldn't he, and said where Kyron was, said what he knew. Unless maybe he was innocent. What do you think? Do you think he was innocent? And that's, did he take his own life because there was so much suspicion on him and maybe he was innocent? I don't know. Okay, so what we're going to go to now, let me just put some windows down. Put that window down, that's the one. Oh, let me just show you these photos. When I look at the photos of Kyron, he does look like a little cheeky boy, typical sort of cheeky. Look at these pictures of him. My heart just breaks for him. That's his mum there. He looks like just a typical sort of 6-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, little cheeky boy. I hope he had some happy times. Then I see him here with his teddy and his jammers. It's just heartbreaking. So he's frozen in time. This boy is dead, according to the police. They say he's dead. They believe they're looking for a body. This was the man who killed himself, I believe. Went to his grave with whatever he knows, if he knows anything. See how he's got these Spider-Man tops on. Honestly, I know Spider-Man is a typical thing that little boys would wear, but I've seen so many missing boys or deceased boys in Spider-Man tops and things. God, definitely, if I'm ever lucky enough to have any grandchildren, I won't be buying them anything with Spider-Man on it, that's for sure. Yeah, heartbreaking. Anyway, so what I want to just go to now is, as I say, this article that one of my chatters sent me quite a long time ago. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to present it. As I say, I've kept it sort of in the emails. I thought I'm going to talk about that one day. I'm going to talk about that one day. But I was waiting for like the next time that I would talk about Kyron. I didn't know about Daniel then. Didn't even know anything about Daniel. So this article that I was sent, and thank you so much, this is actually from 18th of March. Missing Louth schoolboy Kyron Durnan amongst 227 children known to state care to die since 2014. 227 children dead, even though Tusla were aware of their cases. It'd be more now because you've got to add Daniel to it. And there'll be others, I expect. So Tusla, the Child and Family Protection Agency, I'm going to do an article about Tusla. I'm going to show that woman up and her massive salary. I'm going to show her up how she should be shown up. It's disgusting to be earning all that money, 200,000 euros a year, plus expenses, and just crap at what you're doing. So it was Tusla, the Child and Family Protection Agency, was last night branded a deadly place for children. And this came from I won't pronounce that right, I'm sure, the Ayunto leader, Peter Tobin? Piedar Toibin, I'm sorry, I can't speak Irish, I'm so sorry, who fumed. Children in state care are being trafficked, murdered, and abused at a colossal scale in this country, with huge numbers also dying from drug overdoses and self-deletion. These are some of the most vulnerable children in the country for whom the state is responsible. The state is the parent of these children and it is utterly failing them. We also know that children are going missing from state care, and many of these care locations have staff that are not properly vetted. He revealed that 227 children have died either known to state care or in state cases since 2014, and amongst them was Kyron Durnan, the 6-year-old missing in Drogheda for over 2.5 years and now believed to be murdered. Gardai, despite 3 intensive searches of different properties in County Louth, have so far failed to find his body. Kyron was on the radar of Tusla social workers, but they didn't realise that a child brought to meet them was not Kyron. So they took a child to social services and it wasn't Kyron, and they didn't realise. Oh my God. And only last week, a district court judge discovered that Tusla has 250 children with no social worker to handle their cases. And there are currently 90,000. I mean, these numbers, 90,000. They're astronomical numbers, aren't they? 90,000 children a year being referred to the Child Protection Agency. And the Meath West TD said it's an incredible situation and there is a serious crisis going on in Tusla. Oh, but she doesn't care, does she, bloody Kate? Crisis? What crisis? I'm earning a bloody fortune. I'm getting a great salary plus my expenses. She doesn't accept blame, according to other articles. I'm going to do a video about her. I'm definitely going to concentrate on her. Disgusting. Disgusting. Crisis? What crisis? I'm having a great time. I'm earning a bloody fortune. Smug, smug, smug. And she won't admit there even is a crisis. For God's sake. Makes me so angry. Very, very angry. Yeah, it's true, Moonbeam, because unfortunately these sort of agencies, dealing with children is difficult. Looking after children, social care is difficult. So you get, God, what's the best, if someone's a PDF, what's the best job they can go into? Social care of children, vulnerable children, children nobody cares about. Do you know that, and it's horrible to think about, when there's like global catastrophes, like probably what's happening in Gaza now, earthquakes, the tsunami, etc. All these PDFs, they turn up because they know there'll be children there who are vulnerable, who've lost their parents. They're like vultures. They know. And so then you get these sort of things where they know the children in these care homes and everything. Either they haven't got any parents or the parents can't give a shit about them. And so these PDFs gravitate towards those jobs, don't they? It's terrifying because, there are difficult jobs. And for somebody to go, there will be some people, of course. There will be some people who are genuinely care about the kids and that. But unfortunately, there'll be lots of people who don't. It's very sad. I don't know what the answer is, but maybe they need to be monitored better. I mean, I don't know a lot about Tusla, but they need to be monitored properly, don't they? Not just give someone a massive salary and then, Anyway, so this guy says, in recent times, we've seen a number of judges raise very serious questions about Tusla and about the standard of care and protection provided to children in the care of the state. The Kyron Durning case has brought some of the system's flaws to the fore. The government is not listening to foster carers, social workers, or even the voluntary care sector when they raise concerns, but to continue to ignore the situation, even in the face of multiple judges expressing their feelings, is embarrassing for the government. Iontu is calling on the government to outline what steps they're taking to ensure staff retention in social work, better recruitment of foster carers, and how they aim to reduce the rate of trafficking, death, and missing persons amongst children in care. This scandal needs to be taken seriously, and there needs to be an investigation into the reasons why Tusla failed to inform the court that 250 children in their care are currently without a social worker. It's a very serious situation. So we're only talking about two. We're talking about 2 children. Earlier this year, this guy said that 250 children in the care of Tusla don't have a social worker. So what about the other 248 children? We're only talking about Kyron and Daniel. And Daniel has been found deceased. And Kyron, the Gardaí have said that as far as they're concerned, he is deceased. They just haven't managed to find him yet, unfortunately, bless his little heart. Oh, God, I hope they find him. I mean, I know it's too late to save him, but he's lying out there somewhere, buried somewhere. He needs to be at least given a dignified burial. That's all that we can do, or can be done for Kyron now. He needs to be found. Now, they are trying to find him. The Gardaí are trying to find him. You can't say that they're not trying to find him. They are trying. as they've been trying for Daniel, and I hope as Daniel's been found, Kyron will be found. But yeah, it doesn't bring him back, does it? But Tusla needs an investigation. You know, as I've said, you know, children aren't valued enough because they're not producing yet, but they are the future, aren't they? You know, these children that are going missing and dying, these are children that have a lot to offer the world. You know, we don't know what they've got to offer the world yet. There's lots of children who come up from social care and difficult childhoods and go on to be real valuable members of society. You know, some don't, of course, some fall into things, but you know, there's a lot of, I think sometimes children that have gone through adversity when they're young, that makes them stronger later, and they come, you know, people seem to go more than, you know, there's different ways you could go. People that have had difficult childhoods often end up, you know, doing really well in life. Some don't, of course, as well, but we don't know what these children, Daniel and Kyron, we don't know what they would have ended up doing with their lives, because they'll never get a chance to do it. So we'll never know, will we? Bless them. So yeah, little Daniel and little Kyron. So let me know, as always, what you think in comments. There's a virtual candle for these two little boys. And for all the children, you know, there'll be loads of children out there that are, you know, need help one way or another. And Tusla's not doing it, are they? I hope it helps them, you know, pull the socks up and get, you know, get on with it. Okay. So, yeah, that's it. I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. I think it's terrible, and as there will in the future, we'll be looking at that woman, the CEO of Tusla, who earns a fortune, but her organisation is crappo, and it's resulting in the deaths of children. Okay, thank you for watching. I put my banner back on. Please don't forget to like, to subscribe, and I will give you any updates that we get about that. You know, sooner or later his cause of death will be released. I hope they can establish his cause of death, and hopefully sooner or later some arrests will be made in that case. And as far as Kyron's concerned, you know, I'm sure the Gardaí will carry on searching for him, and I hope to God that he will be found sooner or later. I mean, Daniel has been found. The parents have said where Daniel was, haven't they, for whatever reason. And maybe they just couldn't tell lies anymore. Don't know, but... So, as always, I'll see you really soon in the next video. Take care of you. Difficult times at the moment, isn't it? So we just have to keep going, keep plodding on, fighting for justice for these vulnerable people and children that don't have anybody else to be a voice for them. At least we can do that. We can't do much, but we can do something. I'll see you really soon in the next video, and until then, may your God go with you. Thank you.